as a teacher in a teacher training program since 2010. She is affiliated to the field of educational studies as a student, researcher, and teacher educator, providing a platform to acquire herself with different aspects of education in general and identity perspective of education in specific. He has been awarded the American Disability Act Inclusive Education Fellowship, which gave her the opportunity to learn more about universal design for learning in education. So we are very delighted, madam, to have you here with us, Dr. Sharmila, and she is young, like many of you. So she will be interacting with you and giving insights on the design for learning. Thank you, Sharmila.
So hi everyone, ma'am has already briefed, just to say one line. So I'm still learning and I'm looking forward to a session of learning together. So just want to ensure that all of us are comfortable with English. I'm good with Hindi and English. मैं दोनों भाषाओं में काफी सहज हूँ. So if any of you need a switch over from one language to another, just feel free to let me know. So yeah, I'm Sharmila and I'm teaching in Institute of Home Economics. It's a college of Delhi University and I'm teaching there since last 14 years in the Department of Elementary Education. So basically what we do is like, it's a teacher training program. So we train teachers about how to teach. So I mean, it's like a facilitation program. So the topic that I'm going to talk today about is called Universal Design for Learning. And so I have a PPT and I can promise you, you won't be bored. And especially at this 3:30 p.m., I know I have been to these programs and at times it's a torture on us. So, but I promise you that it will be an interactive one. And even if you feel sleepy, just let me know and then sleep. But I will try not to make you sleep. So, can you start the PPT and we come to inside. So I had asked them to distribute some of the papers to you.
You all must be having in your WhatsApp.
Oh yeah, I sent it. Okay. So can I just take this folder? I like lots of cartoons. I like lots of videos. So being with my daughter, I find that cartoons are a good way to start. So that's the first cartoon I want to show you, which is one of my favorite ones. So it's like a class setting if you look at the cartoon. And the teacher, like, she has a curly hair like me, quite a representative of me. And she's like, I know you are as excited as I am about today's class, and you still look at the participants. They are all sleeping. So, often as teachers, we enter into the class with a lot of excitement. We prepare a lot of things. But often our students, they go through so much during their day. They must have gone a lot of scolding at home. I mean, you will be teaching the university students. They must have got a fight in the morning with their partner or girlfriend or boyfriend, or maybe the parents have been saying you are good for nothing. They travel a lot, then they come to the classes. So often they are in these states because of n number of reasons. So as teachers, it becomes very difficult for us to entertain them in a sense towards learning. Entertain not in a dancing and singing way, but to at least motivate them towards learning. So I will be sharing a lot of experiences from my teaching. So like in this past 14 years, what helped me and what didn't help me. So I teach in this teacher education program. We have most of the girls. It's a girls' college, so I teach in a girls' program. So most of them are from lower middle backgrounds who often do a lot of household before coming to college. At times they are, traveling a lot and coming. So I realized that the traditional mode doesn't help me. So I try to bring a lot of resources to my class. So I will be sharing those experiences. It's not a informative lecture as per se, but it's a lecture which is more toward awareness and sensitization. So moving forward, as the name says, Universal Design for Learning. I use something called KWL, which is a chart which I always use before starting any of the lessons. Not just the workshops, but even my lessons. Whenever I have to start a new topic, I ask my learners to reflect what they already know about it. All of them come to class with lots of information. They may not be accurate, but they have a lot of information. So I evaluate first what they know. So I generally start up with a warm-up activity, which I had to start, but I came directly to this, so I will go back to that. But before going forward, I want all of you to take this 1 minute and think, have you heard of the term universal design for learning? Or maybe any guesses, the name, what does it suggest? Maybe you didn't heard the term in its literal sense or its operational terms, but you can guess what it may be. Universal design for learning. So I want all of you to just keep it a note that what you know about it. Just take a minute. Any guesses? There is no right or wrong answer, especially in the field of pedagogy. So just make a guess. Anybody who want to share that what do you guess what it will be about? So what is the design generally? It's a framework. It's a format. So now guess what it could be.
So framework for design
Yes.
that suit for every classes of the school.
Very aptly said. Thank you for saying that. May I know your name?
Deepak.
Deepak.
And I was also saying the same idea that can cut across all barriers and reach.
Yeah. So you used a very important term that cut across the barriers. And Deepak also used a very important term that suits universally, that suits all. So these are some of the things we'll be focusing in our lecture. Anybody else want to share anything? Any guesses? Any guess? I mean, let's be very open about this class. I mean, I know after coming to this professional stage, we often feel like, kya bolna? Like, why to, pata hi to hai, obvious to hai. But it helps us. It helps the teacher. It helps all of your friends. Maybe the term, for example, the term she used, barrier, or the term he used, universal, like, which suits everyone. They are important terms. So, any two more responses, please? There are no wrong answers.
Structured program.
It is
Structured program.
structured program. It's an important term, and thanks for raising it. Though I would say it's not structured, but still your response is important because at one point I will be talking about that it's a framework. It's not it's a generic framework. It is not a checklist. It is not a rigid framework. So thanks for using the term structured. It helped me to actually demystify. So it's very important, even if your students, I mean, I'm not considering you students, you are all my colleagues, but in your class, even if the students are giving a wrong answer, that helps us to correct that information, which otherwise you did not intend to. Otherwise you don't be thinking to correct, or maybe that doesn't occur to us that we need to talk about it. But often when the wrong or so-called, there's nothing wrong, but so-called not so appropriate or not so accurate answer comes up, that also helps us. So yeah, so this is a chart which I find very useful in my classes where I ask my students to first reflect what they know. I generally introduce the lecture, like for example, if I have to take that lecture today, a day before I just tell them tomorrow we'll be talking about it. So please think, what do you know about it? So this first column I generally ask them to fill before they come to the class. Or I give first 5-10 minutes to reflect on what they know about it. Because that helps me to already prepare my next few lectures. And that gives me a context, the examples that I can build up. Then I tell them to always keep writing what they are learning through that lecture. Not at the end, maybe after every 10-15 minutes I give a break and say, okay, write some point. Which work is a summary. When we write, okay, this is what we learned. For example, on your WhatsApp, I send a summary of the whole. Similar way, you can just keep filling it. And this comes also ongoing, maybe something I taught, but then you still have questions. Or maybe at the end of session, a lot of the questions are answered, but you still have questions that you want to know or the domains you want to explore. So you fill this. So it's a very helpful, simple chart, that can be used from grade first to the PhD grade, any of the classrooms you can use it. What they know, what they are learning, or what they learned, and what they will be knowing. So that was one thing I wanted to introduce with, that this is something I use. I I had planned a small activity of just knowing you and one characteristic that you described with yourself. That has a purpose. That's not a random introduction that I want because I can read your names already now. I can see the nameplate. But anything, any one word that describes you, if you can just come up with response, any responses. For example, when I talk about myself, some of the things that surface on about me is that I would say I love traveling, I love doing yoga. I very frequently travel to Kerala. I mean, I can talk a lot, but I'm just giving you an example. It doesn't have to only be with your professional identity. It can be anything. So if you can just come up with a word that describes you, it will help me to go with the activity. Yeah. Okay. I like your smiles. I just said that. Okay. Yeah.
I love watching the good web series.
Okay. You like watching web series? Yes. You. Any of you, please. Okay. You like to listen music? Yeah. Yes, please.
Watching web series.
Watching web series. So you were saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm Rahul. I'm hardworking.
Okay. Psychological politics behind hard work. So I work in the field of social class. So basically, my PhD was about that. What have been the experiences of students belonging to lower socioeconomic status in any private schools? Like under Right to Education Act, if you have heard, there was a reservation of 25% for the EWS students. So my PhD work was situated into that, which came from my own experiences. I grew up in a low socioeconomic background in a village of Haryana, and when I came to Delhi, it was quite a cultural and educational shock for me. So I was very interested to see that what happened when you enter to a field which is very different from the field you grew into. So in that field, when I'm reading literature on social class, I do see that how often this term hard work is associated with particular classes and how it is often used as in a negative connotation. So I value hard work, but I'm just making you aware that even the attributes have classes associated with it, and there's a politics happens around social class which brings those into it. So being like from the field of social psychology, I just want to tell you that the very small things in the class have a very, very important role to play in identity formation. So coming back, all the what responses I got, most of you have the similarity in your responses. But I guess if you think more and if we collect more and more responses, we will see that all of us are very different also. There are commonalities, but there are differences also. And those differences are very obvious. I mean, one of the characteristics of human community is diversity. None of us look same. Exactly. Like on many traits, we are very different. So that's one thing I want to emphasize in my session today is the diversity. I will be showing you some small videos around it. That's the session plan. I don't go exactly as per se, but there are more of the objectives I take forward in my session that, I want to effectively, within 1 hour, we can't learn much. But to be honest, I take 3-4 months to teach what I'm going to teach you in 1 hour. With my students, I take it like almost half a semester to deliver this, but today we'll just at least have a feeling that what it is. So I will be talking more about what is exactly UDL, how do we use it in our classrooms, how can we plan our teaching lessons using this particular framework, and what kind of evaluation strategies are suggested by this kind of framework. So I won't go in the sequence, I will keep jumping from one to another, but these are the basic things that we all will be deliberating on. So this is the video I want to play. Can you just help us to play this video? Hyperlink है उसमें open करेंगे. Even open है. और I believe.
Slide show
उसको कॉपी करके
slide show कर दीजिए अभी नहीं आप कर दो खुद आप आपका हिसाब से जाओ
Okay, the video is but it must be with captions. So if you don't understand, I can replay it.
Shoe town. You need a new pair of shoes?
Sure, I'm looking for a new pair of running shoes.
I've got just what you need. I'll be right back. Here you go.
Thanks. These won't fit. They're too big.
Well, that's no good. Let me get another pair. How about these?
Oh, these are still too big. I wear a size 10.
I'm sorry, sir. Come again?
I said I wear a size 10 shoe.
I'm afraid I don't follow you.
My shoe size, it's 10. You know, like the size of shoes I wear?
I'm afraid you must be mistaken, sir. All of our shoes are the same size. Here, let me get a different shoe.
Is it going to be the same size as the first pair?
Well, of course.
This isn't going to work. I think I'm going to go.
Wait, we got a new shipment coming in. Oh well.
We wouldn't go to a shoe store that only sold one size of shoe. So why do we try to teach students only one way? Universal design for learning is about teaching all students, not just the average students. To do this, we need to represent information in multiple ways, give students opportunities to choose how to express themselves and show us what they've learned, and make the learning engaging and relevant for everyone. We need to listen to our students' needs, cater our teaching styles to their learning styles, and make sure they stay engaged. By doing so, we'll create a better learning experience for everyone.
This is a small video, but I find it very meaningful because mostly we all know that our students are diverse. Even within a family, if there are 3 kids, 2 kids, they both are different. They both have different preferences. We are always aware of this, that there is diversity. But somehow, when we go to teach, including me, and obviously it goes a lot to the systemic constraints, that we tend to teach in only one way. So I belong to the same system, and I'm very well aware of the constraints. But I still believe that when we are aware of certain pedagogies, and if we are geared to make some difference, maybe little steps. I'm not saying that we can do the revolution the very next day after knowing the framework. But when we are aware of it, and whenever we get, the visibility, we will be making some differences. So in this video, if you see that he's telling the same shoe size, it doesn't fit, In fact, at times some of us must be struggling. Like I always find it difficult. If I buy the shoe size 5, it gets tight on me. If I buy 6, it gets loose on me. It's somewhere in between, but there is nothing called somewhere in between. So I find it very challenging. So the whole point here is that we generally tend to teach thinking about average student. And there's an amazing TEDx talk which I will give you reference about. There's nothing called average. The video is called Myth of the Average. I will talk about that too. So there is nothing called average. And to suit to the needs of every student, we tend to reach to a situation which suits technically no one exactly. I mean, most of them struggle into it. So we can reflect that, if the shoe size is not fitting, same shoe size is not fitting everyone, what happens when it comes to the teaching? So do the same pedagogy or do the same style. And in our system, again, I know mostly because of the systemic constraint, we tend to come to the lecture mode. But even within the lecture mode, there can be a lot of diversity. So I know some of us must be working at the organization where there are no facilities of internet. Even I struggle in my college. We don't have proper, despite being in Delhi. Somewhere the building is something like something like I can't play a video so smoothly there. There is always internet issues in my college. But when we know that there are other options, so that's why I prepared myself. I bought all the notes with myself. I did send all the documents to you beforehand. I did ask them that if needed, will you be able to give us the printouts? I did downloaded all the videos in my pen drive and then I came. So that if there is any other issue, I have a backup. So that's how we have to prepare that, we have to modify our team. So that's another very cute cartoon that I like. It's about evaluation, the examination. Just to describe to those who can't see it from this side, there's a teacher sitting and there are two animals like monkey, elephant, fish. Yeah, all those are there. And the teacher is saying for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So that's actually our examination system also does, I know a lot of my students, who are really good with their ideas, but when it comes to writing the paper, they struggle. I tell you about this one girl who graduated her course 2 years ago. She was teaching in an MCD school where I used to go to supervise her. And she was reflective, she used to be very, what do I say, concerned about her students, and every day she used to improve her pedagogy accordingly. But there was this one component in the course which is called reflection writing, where they have to write how was the day for them, how they performed as a teacher, what happened in the school. So it's a reflection on their being in the school. So this girl was not writing reflections. So we do a midterm assessment, and they have to submit reflections every day. But every day they don't come to college, because when they go to teach, they come to college twice a day. So every Friday they had to submit the reflection of 4 days. This girl was not submitting. It has been 1 month, that means 4 weeks, no reflection came. And they are being marked on every reflection. It's a 75-mark paper. I asked her. She didn't respond, and she's like, okay, I will give. Then, gradually I got to know she doesn't like it. She finds it very difficult to put on her thoughts on the paper. If it's a theoretical thing, she will write. But when it comes to the emotion, it gets very difficult for her to put down those emotions on the paper. And this thing involved a lot of emotions for her. So I told her, okay, and she was very good with photography. Very good. So I asked her, let's make a journal. Let's make a visual journal. Whatever you see in the school, whatever is happening, let's click pictures. Then, for 2-3 weeks, she just click pictures. Then I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And I told her, when you're talking about it, just record it. You are telling what is happening. So just record it. And then later on, I told her, these recordings can you put down on the paper? And she scored among the top 10 students in reflections later on, the one who was failing. So sometimes, a little push, to find a way. There was another girl who is currently teaching in Digantar at Jaipur. No, she's in Udaipur, sorry. She was really good with writing poems. How about writing poems around the reflection? And then later on, she published those poems. So sometimes, it's a barrier that we have to help the student. Obviously, when it comes to exam, it goes in writing. We can't allow them to speak and all. Mostly it goes in writing. But using these multiple ways of expressing, you can prepare them to move towards towards that mode which is acceptable. It's unfortunate that that's the mode which is acceptable. There should be other modes also acceptable. But in given situations, what we can do is wherever feasible, give them the chance and then they can be taken up. I mean, taking an example from a younger class, my own daughter, she hates writing. She reads like anything. She's 10-year-old. She reads like anything, but in her English teacher, though she goes to an alternative school, which doesn't have exam and who are not very typical, conventional in their pedagogical approach. I hate school, so I was always like I won't send her to any of the school, especially after doing my PhD in an elite private school. I realized they're doing more of damage than the good to the kids. And I myself was very mischievous and I always felt like bad at school. So I was like, I'm not going to send her to the school. So I had only options of either homeschooling her or sending to an alternative school. Homeschooling with my job and being a single parent was not possible for me. So I had to look for an alternative school. And in Delhi, there were only 2 alternative schools. One was very new. The another one was established one, which is based on Arvindo's philosophy. So I sent her to this school called Mirambika Free Progress School. So her English teacher always says that, she is really good, but she's not writing. And this girl, she used to go with me to Sanjavan. Me and her, we both are into bird watching and we like, nature. So every day we go for running and all. And she used to just sit there, look at the sky, look at the plants, butterflies, and make poems like anything. And beautiful, amazing poems. So, and then me and Didi talked. So in her school, they don't call ma'am or sir, they call Didi and Bhaiya, even if it's a 70-year-old person. So then Didi and me talked and we were like, okay, what we can do is that she keeps singing, she keeps do spontaneous singing. So we note down those. And we noted down those and then we motivated her, oh wow, this is so good, you wrote it well. And gradually she started writing. So I encourage her to write letters to friends. I have a lot of friends across the India. So we still write those Neele Wale Khat, the inland letters. We don't find them now very frequently at post offices in Delhi. I had to go to Sarojini Nagar to get a big bunch of them. I didn't find them in the post offices near me. So we started writing letters and now she's comparatively much better at writing. So rather than making it a torture to her about write, we actually gradually took her towards the writing. So similar coming back, so we have to see our class wherever feasible, we have to use their strength and then bring them towards what we desire for.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
In your both examples, learner did not come to you. You were the one who went to them and showed different way of learning or something like that. So what do you suggest that we have to interfere or they should come to us?
See, it's mutual. I mean, maybe the examples are one-sided, but the learner also need to feel comfortable coming to you. I guess most of the time, even if we sit in this, talk in this class, we all have hesitation to respond to. So what, as a teacher, you have to create a welcoming environment where the learner can approach you. Give them a little time in the beginning. Once you know the strengths, then gear up toward them. But yeah, it's not always the teacher, but teacher's role is to create an conducive environment, a welcoming environment, a fear-free environment where the learners love to learn. So yeah, learner also have to take the initiative, especially at the levels you will be teaching. I mean, it's more important that you actually you create an environment where they feel curious to learn. So learners also have to come. It's not only teacher who has to go, but when you create a conducive environment, the learners with themselves will, come to you. Did I answer?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So coming next, I just told you that there is something called the myth of the average. It's a nice video, but it's a little long, so I won't be playing. I have sent you the link. Do watch it. It's a video from the US context. And what happened in 1950s in US, Air Force was facing a lot of issues. Their pilots were not really performing very well, They did a technology check, उन्होंने अपने fighter planes को भी better किया, उन्होंने अपने pilots को और ज़्यादा trainings दी. They did everything, but the performance of the pilot was not getting improved. And when they did a lot of investigation, they found like the sitting arrangement in the plane. was made thinking of an average guy. So technically, it was not fitting anybody well, and that was hampering the performance of the pilots who were flying those planes. So it's a nice video. Do watch it. The link is there in the WhatsApp thing also. So it's a 18-20 minute TEDx talk. It's another small activity. So just look at the visual for a few seconds. Okay, I'm getting it back. What did you see in that? Surprised people? Okay. Surprise visit. Okay. It's coming from our institutions. Yeah. What else? Can I show the picture again?
Yes.
Yeah. Take a quick look. It has to be quick actually. The first thing you see, you don't need to give the description of the picture. What did you see?
A stranger.
A stranger. Okay.
Child.
A child.
Everyone is looking one for the rest.
Okay. Everybody is looking to the visitor who is coming. Uh-huh.
Frightened faces.
They are
Frightened faces. Okay. Curious people.
They were dying on the dining table.
They were on the dining table. So, all of this is a different thing into it at first. Later we'll do a lot of, analysis. But when we look at something, when I remember I saw this picture in 2017 when I was in US. The picture was named An Unexpected Visitor. And that time, I was very concerned about my daughter, whom I left behind, and went to US for this fellowship. So I was like, oh, that girl is getting scared. So what we look at the context comes from our personal histories. There's a sociologist, Pedagogical, who talks about it, our social histories, the place where we are born, the environment we are grown up. They form our dispositions, which becomes our habitus, our being. So, and that shapes our outlook to the life, learning, everything, So, same, when this study was done, the results showed that different people, when this eye movement studies were done, the results showed that different people looked at the different things. Somebody looked at the clothes, somebody looked at the setting of the home, somebody looked at the expressions. So the whole summary of this becomes that we all look at different things when we look at something. So there's another very cute video. I will play this and then we'll go.
Control and
Control and
then click.
Control
click.
That's more in slide view. Then
okay, let me also do the typical one.
Hey, are you someone who faces problems in remembering Excel formulas? What if I tell you that
Particular video, I find it very meaningful as parents also. It has a lot of implication to the educational setting also. You will see
Stop
that
taking another loan to be able to get your business off the ground.
this is more about parents, but the same holds for the students also. So it's very important to tap on the strength of the student. And that can be done when they have been given the space to express themselves. Maybe you cannot utilize those strengths. For example, if somebody is really good at hockey, but you will say कि मुझे तो subject पढ़ाना है ना. What do I do with the hockey? What you can do is you can bring a lot of examples from hockey while teaching a particular topic. You cannot make him play hockey, obviously. I mean, we have to be practical. We have to teach in a class. But when you know the context of the child, their strength, their interest, what you can do is you can bring examples of that particular domain in your regular classes. And believe me, just one small difference that one small mention makes them very eager for the classes. So it's very important that you get to know your students, and for that you need to give it ambience. For that you need to be yourself. The very important learning that I learned in my classes is, as a teacher, be yourself. Preparing my lessons well, and then just accepting, even if I don't know anything, I just sit ready to read about it. And when my students feel I'm open to accept my limitations, or I'm open to tell my strengths, they also start telling it. So this was another thing that I wanted all of us to go through. So the whole thing, whatever we saw till now has one conclusion, which is like diversity is there and it demands. When there is diversity, it needs to be included, and it's a strength. Now comes the point, what is exactly inclusion? So when we talk about inclusion, there are two related terms that come. You can close your eyes. I always feel uneasy when I flip through it. So I generally feel like stress on my eyes while going to that. So when we have to understand what inclusion is, how do we include the students? It's a relative term. For that, we need to understand what is exclusion and what is integration. So in a very simplified way, I felt this picture is an apt point to understand. So when somebody is out of the system, and somebody is out of the system, not given the entry, it becomes exclusion. When somebody is given the entry but on my own rules, ठीक है, आ जाओ but वहाँ बैठ जाओ. So you are there, but you have to follow the system's rules and just don't raise your voices. It becomes integration. That you are there, but you are not there. You can't be yourself. And you're there and you occupy place as per your interest, as per your strength, then it becomes inclusion. And then it looks more beautiful. So that's a basic terms that is used in the field of education, exclusion, integration, and inclusion. There are relative terms to it, which will come, I think it's in large or something. Yeah. That's another cartoon, that I find very, very cute. So what we do in the class generally, in most of our system, and when I say we, it's me also, it's not that I'm saying you guys are doing, I'm talking about all of us. So generally when we deliver the lesson, we tell our students, we expect all of you to be independent, innovative, critical thinkers who will do exactly as I say. So generally, we have to give them space to make errors, then only they can be innovative and the independent thinkers. If we are teaching in a very rigid manner, we cannot expect them to be very innovative. Okay, so that's another, like the last slide was just simply that inclusion demands universal designs in every domain. So now we have to understand what is universal design. I will be super quick, don't worry, I won't make you sit beyond your time. So I will be quick and take you through. So this is another cute cartoon to explain what is universal design. So here it's a picture from, again, I think from a US context, and so there is snow everywhere, snowfall happened, and it's a scene of a school. There are students standing in front of the school, one child in wheelchair, and there are other kids, all in different colors. And the child on the wheelchair is saying, could you please shovel the ramp? Can you remove the snow from here? So the woman says, all these other kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, then I will clear the ramp for you. And the child says, but if you shovel the ramp, we all can get it. In our buildings also, a lot of us prefer lifts. A lot of us at times prefer ramps. And ramps are not just for the wheelchair users. There are people who have some knee issues, they prefer to hold the ramp and then walk rather than taking the stairs. I mean, if there's a woman with a child in the stroller, she will prefer the ramp instead of stairs. So, any move which is done to include people is not just helping the person that per se. It helps everybody. So when anything is designed universally, that helps everyone. That is not limited to any one person or that particular, a person with that particular ability or different ability. So, or a particular strength or a limitation. It helps everyone. And that's the whole crux of universal design for learning. That what it does, it removes barriers for everyone. What happens in a model of equality is that you have given the same, so it's a same. Wow, the advanced technologies have issues also. Okay, if you see the first picture, it's a scene of a stadium where there are these three kids of different heights who went to watch the match. I'm not good at sports. I think it's a cricket match. I can't be sure, but it seems like baseball. Baseball. Okay, so they all went. See, we create knowledge together. So when you give a lot of scope to the learners, you also get empowered. So, it's a match going on, and they went to watch the match, which has a barrier, a ceiling, some fence type ka hai. So, ceiling block is not helping them. Now what they did कि जो बड़ा है उसको दो ही मत, जो इसको normal बीच का height है उसको एक block, and the one with the smallest height 2 block. That's a model of equity. And third barrier, and that's what universal design do. This is an example from architecture infrastructure field, but the same holds for the education field also. So it's an analogy. So I will come quickly to the what exactly universal design for learning is, and then how do we use it. I won't talk much about how do we use it. I will tell how to read your handouts, because I'm sure by 4:30 you all, I can go on, but I mean, I don't want to hold you guys, because I know when I go for courses and somebody hold, it gets difficult. So basically it's a framework that gives guidelines in a way that it reduces barriers and it gives support to everyone. Okay? The important point is it does not compromise with the standards. The standards are still high. So what is that? So I'm not taking through all these slides. There's a single one-liner we have already talked. Yeah, the important point. So just 3 important things that you have to be careful in your classes. If we use them, we can make classes much more inclusive. Is 3 principles of UDL. The first principle is the principle of representation. It says that multiple ways of representation. When you represent information in multiple ways, for example, in today's class, I gave handouts, I bought the PPTs, I use videos also to say the same things. I got a lot of examples from my own life. So I use the same information in multiple ways to engage. So that whosoever, maybe some of you don't actually enjoy, you are so tired by now, and you are like, I will read it later. So you have handouts with you. So I have given the information in multiple ways. The another principle, I will next slide is more clear. So there are 3. First is the multiple means of representation that represent the information in multiple ways. What you are telling, try to tell it in the multiple ways. Then multiple means of action and expression, how they are acting on it. Like the way we make them do practicals. We conduct practicals, or we ask them to make models around it, or the project files around it, or in the examination, we give multiple kind of questions. And we do open book exams, we do one-liners, we do fill in the blanks, we do descriptive. So we give them scope to act on this information or to respond in multiple ways, with whatever principle. And the third comes the multiple means of engagement. I mean, in my classes, I do small things, I give them scope to sit. अगर उनको पैर ऊपर करके आलती-पालती मार के बैठना, it's okay. Some of them say that I'm really, sitting in this chair since morning makes me really hurt, So I tell them that you want to sit on the floor, or do you want to just, stand in the corner for some time. These very small freedoms in the class also, make them engage. So this third particular principle is about the affective domain. How do they feel, how to motivate them for the class. them. Agency lies with them also. So then they feel comparatively more motivated. So these are the three principles, very small things you can do. For example, when you are giving the information, when you are teaching, you are giving any instructions, just break them in very small steps. Wherever you need to cooperate with different language, if you know it, please tell them in that language also. Some of you must be teaching in regional languages also. Try to use them. Use some simple visuals. You can yourself see. If I would have taken this lecture as a whole oral mode, it would have been really boring. That could have acted as a medicine to sleep. But I tried to use different visuals. Visuals are very powerful. So when you use them small ones intermittently, it helps. So you can use some screenshots, YouTube videos and all. The crux is to try to present the information in multiple ways. You can go through them. There are again further points under each. Again, when they are acting, give them multiple options to express themselves and ask them to engage, don't make them feel left out. If they need to, some of them say, you have given a reading to them, and some of them say that I can't read in the class, I want to sit alone. Or some of them say, can you put me with my friend? I find it difficult to comprehend. So my friend will explain. Or somebody say, can I just sit outside in the park and just read and quickly come? So these small freedoms, if your system allow, if your institute allow you, I know that there are constraints around it, but if you make that space and if you make it feasible, all those small things, help them. Especially when you're giving them projects, how you relate it. For example, how the history of particular aspect of agriculture or some project which can, corporate this. For example, at present when my daughter was studying this particular project of geography, her teacher told them that, okay, use a state and use a domain. So my daughter worked with literature across Kerala, or languages across a state. So make the interdisciplinary projects where the main discipline is there and their interest domain is there. So if you can find some ways that will help them. So I'm stopping. Let me see if there is another cartoon in it. No, there's no cartoon. So, this is a major thing. This could have talked a lot. I've sent one document which is about exploring strategies. When you will go through the document, it is hyperlinked. Whenever it has thousands of strategies into it. I mean, thousand is an exaggerated word, but it has many strategies under every domain. So whenever you want to learn more about it, you click on the strategy, it will take you to the description of the strategy. That's what you can do, what kind of activities in higher classes you can plan. So that was all about this. So generally when we say a UDL thinking or a UDL plan, it's a cyclic thing that you should know about the learners in their context. What are we here to do? What are you studying with them? Have a clarity. Identify what can be the potential barriers to their learning. Then when you are identifying barriers, then identify the possible support system also, what can help them. Then use those support system to plan the learning and the cycle keeps going on. So yeah, that was it. If you have any questions, please ask. It was more of just getting aware or getting sensitive. We all knew all of this. It's nothing new. But when we talk about those things again and again, it at least leads us a bit more motivated, to try some of the things. If there are any questions or anything you want to know, I have sent all these things in documents all to you via mail. I sent it to them. So please go through them whenever you find interest. Maybe in a year you just try one strategy. You don't need to, teaching is a gradual process. Every year we learn something fail and then something work. So maybe you can choose one or two strategies every year, make a goal that okay, I will try this, this year and see how does it goes on. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. We have more sessions after this? Another session will start at 4:30. 5 p.m.
I missed it. It was very interesting, the first part. So, friends, we should clap and.
No, they did not.
I want
Yeah, yeah.
I want you to.
You want me again to go there? I was pretty bored and also I mean by the time I feel tired, but still.
We are sitting here from 9 o'clock. We are not bored. 9 to 9. We are agitated. That's why we are past.
अब आप ये देख लीजिए कि 2 दिन में एक कार्टून 3 बार आ गया इसका मतलब कंटेंट की कितनी कमी है कार्टून की ढेरों कमी है